of Massachusetts, the home of the American Revolution and the birthplace of freedom and democracy. This week we celebrate the freedom to go racing here in the Bay State, our first stop being in the rolling hills southwest of Boston. Hi, hello, and good afternoon, race fans. It's a beautiful late June afternoon in Natick, Massachusetts, as we're here for today's coverage of the NR2003 Mission Barbecue Cup Series race, the Dunkin 400. Once again, welcome everybody to today's Intercast on the North American Sim Racing Network. My name is Trey Wright, and it is finally here. 7 races across 2 different disciplines in 1 week. It is the most arduous week of racing here on the NASRN, and 5 of those races start with a doubleheader at the Hillside International Speedway. 400 miles this afternoon and 310 later tonight. The first couple of races for what is sure to be a fantastic week of racing. And a big draw for this week, of course, is the Dunkin Week of Speed in-season tournament that the top 32 drivers in the point standings are in right now. We'll take a look at the bracket to see all the different matchups, starting all the way at the top left with the 1 versus 32 matchup. Esteban Lasair, the new points leader coming into Hillside, will take on Cole Sampson, who sits 32nd in the point standings. Sampson does start 8 positions ahead of Esteban Lasair in position number 8, so Cole Sampson could have a pretty good case to try to upset the number 1 seed of Lasair, who starts all the way back on the outside of row number 8 in spot number 16. Then below those 2 drivers in the next matchup is Eric Monaco taking on Michael Lewis. Monaco's team of Chevy Power Racing has been hot with 2 straight wins over the last couple of weeks so far in June. Monaco starts deep in the field there in 26th. Michael Lewis starts 11 spots ahead of him in position number 15. It's the Logan and Logan show beneath those 2 drivers between Logan Williams and Logan Alexander. Both those drivers start midway through the field. Williams in 12th and Alexander in 18th, a couple of rows behind that number 17 car. Then finally rounding out the top left side of the region, Riley Sampson will take on Rogel Dorn. Both those drivers towards the tail end of the field. Sampson deep in the field in the 38th starting spot. Dorn piloting his number 27 car from the 27th starting spot. Angel Gutierrez will take on the defending winner of this race, Roberto Crown Jr. Gutierrez will round out the top 10 in position number 10, and Crown Jr. starts deep in the field in the 21 car, all the way back in the 35th starting spot. Brennan Wilmington will take on Owen Miles here in the next matchup. Wilmington deep in the field in the number 24th starting position. Owen Miles in the inside of row number 2, up in position number 3. Carson Miller will be taking on Matthew Hubert for the next matchup. Miller starts in 5th. Hubert will start in 11th, and Alexander Rowe will take on Thomas Troxel. Rowe, one of the deepest drivers in the field, all the way back in 36th. Thomas Troxel on the outside of row number 2. He will start in 4th. That'll round out the left-hand side of the bracket. Going on to the right, it's Alex Lozano taking on Keegan Thompson. Lozano starts just inside of the top 20, all the way back in 19th. Keegan Thompson will start in position number 7. Igor Barreto and Caleb Rose are 2 drivers that are towards the tail end of the field here. Barreto will start in 33rd, and Caleb Rose will start all the way back in 25th. Reggie Fogelman and Bruno Diacomo, also a pair of drivers that are starting near each other towards midway part through the field. Fogelman back in 28th, Diacomo in 23rd. And rounding out the top right-hand side of the bracket, the pole sitter for this race, Campo Marsh, starts in position number 1. He'll be taking on Matt Wolf, who starts midway through the field in 22nd. And going down to the bottom right-hand side of the bracket, it's the 2 drivers that are starting the deepest in the field this afternoon. Daniel Bouchard will be taking on Elijah Gordon. Bouchard starts in 34th. Gordon will be in 41st. Then it's Corey Case, who starts in 32nd, taking on Mitchell Collins, who's starting in 17th for the 71 machine. Then it's Bradley Ream, the defending winner of the Dunkin Week of Speed, taking on Ryan Durrani. Ream starts deep in the field in 37th. Durrani midway through the field on the outside lane, up in that 86th and the 14th starting spot. And finally, over on the bottom right-hand side of the bracket, it's Braden Perez taking on John Andrews. Those 2 cars separated by only 1 row. Perez starts inside the top 10 in 9th. Andrews will start in 13th. And taking a look at the advancing format for the Dunkin Week of Speed as well, all you need to do to advance is finish ahead of the driver that you are designated against. And if you're able to do that here in the Dunkin 400, the first race of today's doubleheader, you will gain 10 bonus points going into tonight's race. If you're able to do the same and beat your next driver after tonight, you will gain an additional 15 bonus points going into Papyrus. After Papyrus going into Boston, you will gain 20 bonus points for the final 4 drivers. And once again, reminding everybody of the advancing format here for the Dunkin Week of Speed. After this afternoon's race, the top 16 drivers that finish ahead of one another will advance here to the Sweet 16 of the Dunkin Week of Speed. They will each be getting 10 bonus points each. After that, the top 8 drivers will advance into the Papyrus race here in a couple of days. They will gain 15 bonus points additionally for 25 bonus points on the complete day so far. After Papyrus, the top 4 will advance for the final 4, and they will get 20 bonus points each. After Boston, the top 2 will advance. They will gain 25 points each. And after the Samuel Adams Firecracker 400 at the Coca-Cola Superspeedway, the winner of the Dunkin Week of Speed will gain 50 bonus points for a grand total of 120 bonus points to be obtained here in this fantastic week of racing. The incentive is absolutely there for these drivers. We saw with Bradley Ream last year and how he was able to take that momentum going into the final 5 race stretch of the regular season and able to find himself a chase berth going into last year's chase back in 2024. We'll take a quick look at the point standings as well. Coming into this week, Esteban Lacer is the new points leader. He leads the way with 10 races remaining in the regular season. Alex Lozano falls behind the second, 58 points back of Lacer. Daniel Bouchard, Angel Gutierrez, and Alexander Rowe round out the top 5. Braden Perez, Campbell Marsh, Riley Sampson, Logan Williams, and Reggie Fogelman are all inside the top 10. And Bradley Ream and Carson Miller currently hold the 2 wildcard spots if the chase were to start this afternoon. One other piece of news that was announced late last week is that there will be a new series added to the NASRN slate for this fall. The Winston All-American Series has been rebranded to the Loves American Truck Series, and we will see signage for the new series all around the walls this afternoon with the announcement that Dodge will be returning to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in real life the day before I'm recording this race. We figured, you know what, we're going to go trucking here for the first time on the North American Sim Racing Network. More info to come in terms of owners and driver signups, but we're damn proud to be bringing a 3rd full-time series back to the NASRN slate for the fall of 2025. And one final note before we finally get underway is that qualifying for tonight's race will be based on lap times here in the day race. So whoever gets the Tag Heuer fastest lap at the Dunkin 400 will also sit on the pole for tonight's Baskin-Robbins 310. And hey, if you're able to advance the Dunkin Week of Speed and get the fastest lap and get the pole here tonight, that is 20 bonus points already going into tonight's race here. So a lot of points incentives are on the line here in this first race of the Dunkin Week of Speed, but it's time to add yet another chapter into the storied legacy that is Hillside International, and it's time to get on the go here in the Bay State. Let's go down trackside and get the most famous words in motorsports to crank them up for the first race of the Dunkin Week of Speed, the Dunkin 400.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the engines roar to life here on the pit lane at Hillside. 42 cars ready to get going here to kick off the Dunkin Week of Speed. It is the 3rd Twisted Tea Pole Award of the 2025 season for Campbell Marsh. He'll start to the inside of the 16 of Danny Fallington to make up row number 1. Row 2, the 05 of Owen Miles starts to the inside of the 00 of Thomas Troxel. Back in row number 3, Toby Murphy, the Dunkin car, here for the Dunkin Week of Speed, starts to the inside of your Nazareth winner of Carson Miller for the first 6 starting spots. As we look at Elijah Gordon, starting to the inside of Zachary Fitzwater, as we take a look at the brand new NR2003 pace truck here. Chevy Silverado pace truck, that'll get the 1 to go signal. Here as the field goes to pass the start-finish line, a packed crowd here this afternoon. Southwest of Boston with school letting out last week. Everybody flocking here on the work weekend, the weekday I should say. To see 2 races here this afternoon at Hillside. 80 laps are on the docket for the 400 miler, with the stages concluding at laps 20 and 45. We expect the tire wear to be about 10 laps shorter than the fuel wear, with pit window fuel window, I should say, is about 38 laps, so we expect these guys to come down at lap 28 for the tires. Keegan Thompson, Caleb Rose, Eric Monaco, and Roberto Crown Jr., the four previous winners of the 400-mile race here at Hillside. Chevy Silverado pace truck about to dive onto the pit lane. It's Campbell Marsh, starting on pole position once again this season, leads the field at the race's restart zone. Green flag is in the air, and the Dunkin Week of Speed is live at Hillside. Campbell Marsh shot out like a rocket right off the start of that Stanley number 31 Dodge Charger. Owen Miles quickly to second, starting on the second car on the inside lane. Thomas Troxel falling back to fifth right now. 3 wide back in here. Toby Murphy on the outside of a couple of Dunkin Week of Speed drivers. Murphy driving the Dunkin car. Ironically, is not part of the Dunkin Week of Speed, but he's still going to try to get his first career win at the Cup level. He's the inside of Keegan Thompson. Nearly 3 wide once again back in there as Braden Perez will make some moves in car number 92. And back to the front, side by side for the race lead. Marsh will retain it for now, but here comes Owen Miles. He is trying to snap a 99 race winless drought for the driver of that 05 car. Got a really good qualifying result so far this afternoon, or earlier on this morning, I should say. Able to put it to good use so far. Started in third, he's up to second. Fallington started second, he's back in third. Right now, the pole sitter for tonight's race would be Owen Miles with a 19.938 second lap. Again, how banked these curves are, you are all pretty much in the gas throughout the entire day, maybe a little bit of brake going just into the corner, but once you're through the apex there, it is all gas coming out of turn 2 and turn 4 as well, going on to the straightaways that are each banked at 12 degrees, similarly to what we see at the Dover Motor Speedway, or I guess the Dover International Speedway it's now called, with it being under SMI ownership. Like we said in the pre-race show, third pole of the season for Campbell Marsh. Has not been able to put together a complete race for a win just yet, as Fallington trying to get second back away from the 05 of Owen Miles. The yellow flag is out, and it's Bradley Ream T-boning his CPR teammate of Reggie Fogelman driver's side. Alex Sanvitale also caught up and were under caution for the first time this afternoon, and it looks like Bradley Ream's bid at back-to-back Dunkin Week of Speed titles may be gone up in a heap of twisted sheet metal. Same thing for Reggie Fogelman, won 2 weeks ago at the Pocono Raceway, and it looks like those 3 cars got tied up towards the tail end of the field here, and we're gonna go in the pit lane for pretty much the entirety of the field, 8 laps into that run. Campbell Marsh will lead the way in car number 31, going down into the service area. So everybody will come down. Doesn't look like there's going to be any drivers that will stay out, as we'll focus along with the 31 of Campbell Marsh trying to get Titan Fury Racing their first win of the season. Up to see who will get the the Valvoline fastest pit stop of the race so far. Everybody taking 4 tires. Like we said, the tire wear is about 10 laps more aggressive than everything else. A very, very slow pit stop for Danny Fallington. He is going to lose about 4 spots. I think Campbell Marsh just barely beat out Owen Miles off of the pit lane, and I believe he indeed did. How about Toby Murphy? The good pit stop there for the 20 machine, as Marsh will take his way back out front here with Owen Miles getting back up to second. Corson Miller will go up to third, and we'll go over the rest of the starting 5 when we come back here, but we do indeed have an accident to review, and it looks like Bradley Ream has indeed retired from the race. We have our first result in the Dunkin Week of Speed. Ryan Durrani will be moving on to later on tonight. We're going to take a look and see what happened to bring us onto the first caution of the afternoon here on lap number 8 of the Dunkin 400. 3 wide off of the corner right off the start typically doesn't work, and you're going to watch Reggie Fogelman, last race winner here at the MBCS, get turned by Alex San Vitale. Dylan Matthews is going to get a little bit of a piece there in the 75. And all 3 of those cars, along with Bradley Ream, will careen down to the inside. And watch San Vitale if we can get him back here in the 96. Nearly miss hitting that inside wall. We'll rewind it just a little bit, and we're going to see how close that was. Maybe missing that jutting wall by a couple of feet, and he just tags the other side of that safer barrier right at the last moment. And Reggie Fogelman right in front of Bradley Ream. There was nothing that Bradley could do. T-bones his Chevy Power Racing teammate right into the rear end and nearly goes underneath of Fogelman. Nearly turned that car upside down, and Eric Monaco saw that crash in his rear view. He was not happy. And Bradley Ream has taken his 2 car to the garage area. He'll be the first retiree of the Dunkin Week. We'll rewind it here. Take a look at it in real time. Bradley Ream nowhere to go in that Shell Pennzoil number 2. Tries to get it back on the road. He has a good save, but just unfortunately runs right into the side of his teammate. Destroys the front end of the car, and you can see a little bit of smoke pouring out of that number 2 machine. Really tough break for the Pineville, North Carolina native. Will not get a chance to try to defend his Dunkin Week of Speed title from last year. Campbell Marsh on the race off the pit lane. He will be your race leader when we go back through the gears here in the Dunkin 400. We're back at the Hillside International Speedway, cleaning up our first caution of the afternoon on lap number 8. Like we said, Bradley Ream has taken his Shell Pennzoil Chevy Monte Carlo to the garage area. 41 cars remain on the racetrack. Everybody is still on the lead lap, albeit a little bit of damage from San Vitale, Reggie Fogelman. Owen Miles still has the fastest lap of the race. The fastest pit stop on that set going to Corey Case with a blazing fast 14.25 second pit stop. Top 5 going back through the gears. Marsh, Miles, Miller, Murphy, and Thompson. Green flag back out in the air. Owen Miles right off of the jump to the inside of Campbell Marsh. 4M's starting inside of the top 5. Right off of the gun, Owen Miles will go to the point, but here comes Campbell Marsh. Rather, Carson Miller. I'm getting tripped up with all the M names towards the front end of this field. But it will be Miles, Miller, Marsh, your top 3. Side by side as Murphy will fall back into the clutches of Fallington. Nearly 3 wide back again there for the 5 of Sampson. Murphy trying to run away and remain up inside the top 5, but the top 3 drivers all underneath of a blanket. Look at Carson Miller, the rookie there in the 8 machine. Already 1 win this season under caution at Nazareth a couple of months ago, and he'll power that FYE Dodge Charger to the inside of the Celsius Tropical Vibe Ford Fusion of Owen Miles. Miles will get the jump on the outside lane. 6 laps to go here in stage number 1. Owen Miles looking to get a stage win here. Again, the amount of bonus points that can be picked up right now for these drivers cannot be underestimated. Understated, I should say, is Owen Miles right now in the race lead. Campbell Marsh now setting the fastest lap of the race so far, so he's looking for back-to-back poles here tonight. Still a lot of racing to go. 4 1/4 laps remaining in stage number 1. Again, these cats came down on lap number 8. They took 4 tires right off of the bat. I think we've got about maybe 30 laps on a run for tires until we're probably going to see them start going to the outside wall. We saw a little bit there with Danny Fallington. He doesn't look to have a whole lot of damage on the right-hand side of that fast snail number 16. Miller trying to find a way around Owen Miles, who continues to dominate here. And Miles does have quite a few wins here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Does have 3 wins on the Winston All-American Series, which is being rebranded the Loves American Truck Series. Those statistics will carry over despite the new model of car, rather the new type of automotive machine, I guess. Miles, with 3 wins the 2024 season of the Winston All-American Series, will go into the first ever season of Lat's competition if he chooses to compete. He'll be the all-time winningest driver. Final lap in stage number 1, Owen Miles. He took the lead right off for the restart away from Campbell Marsh. Going to hold off Carson Miller here for the top spot. Miles, Miller, Marsh, Thompson, Murphy, your top 5. Going back to the green checkered, stage 1 will go to the Rochester, New Yorker of Owen Miles. Getting that final bonus point, Braden Perez there in car number 92. And stage number 2 is a go here. Looking back at Reggie Fogelman there in that 3 machine. Fogelman a little ways behind Bruno Diacomo, who is right now midway through the field there in that number 79 car. Elijah Gordon trying to make some moves. Gordon is racing against Daniel Bouchard, who was back there. Bouchard actually able to make some moves up to the front end of the field, and Bouchard actually a couple of positions ahead of Elijah Gordon there. That Papa Murphy's 07 machine. Taking a look at a couple of other matchups here, beginning with the 1 versus 31 matchup, and Cole Sampson right now rocking P7 in that 5 car. It's ahead of Esteban Lasserre, who is in a battle with Mitchell Collins there. Collins trying to get around that 64 car. This is the battle for 13th. He's trying to get the run on the inside lane, but I think Lasserre might get it off of the corner. Those two are going to be side by side. Just a little bit of an edge there for Lasserre. But utilizing that inside lane is going to be Mitchell Collins, and Esteban is in deep trouble, deep danger I should say, potentially falling out of the Dunkin Week of Speed in round number 1. That is, of course, if Cole Sampson is able to keep his Monte Carlo SS underneath of him here for a couple more circuits. Top 3 pulling away from Keegan Thompson by just a little bit. Miles, Miller, Marsh has been the name of the game so far in stage number 2. 6 laps into stage number 2, in fact. Marsh still with the fastest lap. Miles out front, that would knock out Brennan Wilmington, who's trying to find his way up inside of the top 10. I believe Wilmington is actually just outside of the top 20. He indeed is outside, nearly outside of the top 25 for the 62 car. And given that his adversary is leading the race, he is going to need something to go awry on Owen Miles very quickly. But Miles now pulling away a little bit there from Carson Miller, but I think while Miller would love to get the win, he's also looking for some bonus points there in that 8 machine. Currently in a fight with Matthew Hubert, who is hot on his tails right now in the 8th spot. Hubert trying to shake and bake just a little bit there in that Zivia number 23 machine for Vision Motorsports Vision. The Vision team still trying to get their 2nd win of the season. Got 1 win all the way back at Vancouver with Rogel Dorn. Speaking of Rogel Dorn, he's deep in the field there in that WeatherTech number 27 machine, currently rocking position number 29. Dorn taking on Riley Sampson, and Riley is all the way back in here in that peak number 24 car, so Riley's got to make some moves if he wants to get ahead of Rogel Dorn here in that 27 machine. Eric Monaco and Michael Lewis are racing against one another. I believe Lewis might be going back the other direction in the 90. Actually, I think Lewis is up ahead of Eric Monaco just a little bit. Here he is. He's fighting for a top 10 run for the rookie driver, the number 90 car. So Eric Monaco may be knocked out of this contest if things are all said and done. But it has still been the Owen Miles show for the second part of this race. We ran 8 laps under green, and there we are. Keegan Thompson, the first car to hit the outside wall on this tire run. We're going to be seeing a lot of that so far in the next couple of laps. We could potentially see our 2nd caution of the afternoon come out here in that same fashion. Now we see Carson Miller getting to the outside wall just a little bit. Miller trying to run his line right behind Owen Miles. Those two drivers will be part of pretty much most of the field here. Later on, or rather tomorrow afternoon, we'll make the trek all the way up to Bowmanville, Ontario. For the FMGTC race tomorrow afternoon, the Tim Hortons Canada Day Classic. That is after running 710 miles here tonight. 400 this afternoon and 310 later on this evening. For a grand total of 710 laps. Of course, this being a video game means that these drivers don't feel the fatigue of running 7 races in a week. One of those races being 2.5 hours long at the Watkins Glen International for the Firecracker at the Glen. One of the crown jewel races here for the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship race. Marsh and Miller both hard into the outside wall. We remain green for now. The more these drivers wear out their tires, you see a lot of debris on the racetrack. We did get a debris caution a couple of weeks ago at Nashville when there wasn't a whole lot of debris, and you see the entire right-hand side of Brennan Wilmington's car really destroyed as he goes 3 wide between Georgia and Monaco. That's going to add on to the drama if we get green flag pit stops, and I believe that's Riley Sampson who's come down the pit lane. Rather, that is Igor Barreto, who will come down here on lap number 37, 30 laps into run, and I believe that's where we put the money. Right on the money in terms of these drivers coming down the pit lane in terms of tire wear at about 29 to 30 laps into a run. Does Barreto have any other takers? It does not look like it is just yet. Owen Miles has opened things up to about, it's going to be over a second over Carson Miller as Miller gets into the outside wall, and just a hair over a second. Lee, the advantage for Owen Miles as Igor Barreto continues to trundle down the pit lane. It's a very long pit lane, only 55 miles an hour, and these guys rocketing around Hillside. Around 120. Rather, not even 120, way more than 120, probably about 160 to 70. John Andrews down in the service area once again, or he is down in the service area as well, I should say. Trying to see where Igor Barreto is as Riley Sampson hard into the outside wall. Once Igor comes out of the pit lane, here he is right there in the 13. You're going to see just how much a new set of sticker tires is right now. I thought somebody had gone around once again, but look how effective that Igor Barreto is running right now. Able to hold that inside lane down, and he is zooming past everybody right now. Barreto is 2 laps down, however, so he is going to have to pray that this race remains green. Going into this set of pit stops here, but the leaders continuing to stay out, and I think they're trying to make it all the way to the point of the race where they're not going to have to pit once again for fuel, which they're past the midway point in the race right now. I would think that we're going to see Owen Miles potentially come down here in about 6 or so laps. He continues to get into the outside wall. The longer that these guys will stay out on a run, the more likely it is that we could see some drivers wash up, hit the outside wall, and potentially spark the yellow flag to come out here for the second time this afternoon. Campbell Marsh falling back a lot as Igor Barreto nearly ran over the 14 of Keegan Thompson. You see John Andrews zooming past Carson Miller. I believe Andrews is 2 laps down, getting right to the low side of the leader of Owen Miles, who will come around to take the final lap of stage number 2. A lot of debris on the racetrack, but that's only cosmetic. It's not actually going to really affect things here. Miles, oh boy, he got sideswept there by the 13 of Barreto. Nearly getting railroaded, was a dominant car of the afternoon. But it looks like Owen Miles will sweep the stages here. On a caution-free second stage, Miles will come around to get his second stage win of the afternoon here. Carson Miller will limp it home. He'll get in second. And I think now that stage 2 will end, everybody's going to come down to get some fresh rubber. Thomas Troxel will get the final position here for stage number 2. Now I'll have to see when these drivers come down. Miles will stay out an extra lap. He'll get in the outside wall once again. Looks like pretty much everybody up inside of the top 10 has got significant damage to the right-hand side of their automobiles. The lap times have really fallen off over the last couple of moments here. Fastest lap right now, still Campbell Marsh in with a 19-second time. But Owen Miles this last time by 23.6 seconds, a full 6 seconds of fall off there. Rather 4 seconds of fall off, but still. Tire fall off is real here at Hillside, and we nearly saw it come into play there as Daniel Bouchard nearly getting turned up into the outside wall, and here comes Owen Miles. So this will likely be the money stop for the race leaders. Miles is down into the pit area, and he is a lonely man down in the service area for right now. Cole Sampson will join him. The 5, the 05 will come down into the pit lane. Eric Monaco, the Chevrolet teammate of Angel Gutierrez, are also down as well. Same thing with Sam Vitale. Carson Miller will stay out an extra lap, and it looks like the majority of the field will come down. Nearly getting railroaded there was the 17 of Logan Williams. But he will come down, and this is a little bit of a tricky pit lane to come down to. It was Reggie Fogelman. Oh boy, I thought he was going to run right into the attenuator. He'll keep that 3 car out of the wall. Lewis will come down. Same thing with Durrani. Collins, Wolf, Alexander, Wilmington, Gordon, they're all in. Same thing with Dorn, Fitzwater, and pretty much everybody else back in here. John Andrews and Igor Barreto will stay out. Owen Miles is out of the pit lane here. First one out is pretty much everybody coming down within the last couple of laps here. Again, everybody repairing the damage to the right-hand side of their cars. That's going to add about 10 seconds. Everybody able to get down the pit lane nice and orderly so far. There's Caleb Rose, and you see all the damage being repaired to the Tide Ride 32. Cole Sampson out in the way in the 5 car. He'll get out ahead of Carson Miller. Charlie Davenport able to leapfrog a couple of guys here. Once this all cycles out, we're going to have to see who will end up being the race leader, because Charlie Davenport didn't have to repair a whole lot of damage in that 98 car. I believe he may have leapfrogged a lot of the field in that 98. He definitely leapfrogged the 5 of Sampson, I believe. Everybody is a lap down, and we're going to get things situated over the next couple of laps. Right now, Owen Miles and pretty much the entire field is a lap down to the 7 and the 13 who came down earlier on, but I think Igor Barreto is certainly in a lot of trouble right now. Same thing with the 7 of John Andrews. Was logging a couple of laps led. Andrews up into the outside wall, and Esteban Lasserre right now being shown in 3rd. So Lasserre, I believe, got the jump on everybody. Miles down in 5th will become 3rd. Doesn't show the intervals just yet, but Miles all the way back there in the 5th position. Ryan Durrani will leapfrog up to 4th. And Lasserre right now ahead of all these guys, up in 3rd. Lasserre has nearly a lap over everybody here. So I believe it could be Esteban Lasserre's day. So he's able to leapfrog past a couple of drivers, including his adversary of Cole Sampson, who's now down in 7th. We still got a long way to go in this contest. 23 laps to go so far. I think it could be cycling out to be an Esteban Lasserre. Potentially out front here, but we got to pay attention to when John Andrews and Igor Barreto come down the service areas. They're going to have to come down at least one more time for fuel. Remember, they came down on around lap 40, and you see the fall off there as Barretto hard into the outside wall. Lasser is able to get around the 7 there. John Andrews, and everybody's going to start getting their laps back here. Andrews will surrender, nearly gets hard into the outside wall. Will give Ryan Durrani his lap back. I believe this could be Lasser's race to lose. He has a 4-second lead over Ryan Durrani. He's got a couple of lap cars between himself and Durrani right now. 20 laps to go this next time by. Everybody, you know, we definitely saw the tire wear really come into play, but in terms of fuel, everybody went to the max there at around lap 50. Looks like I don't think there's going to be any more pit stops there. I believe Esteban Lasser is going to cycle out to potentially be your race leader, which is when this is all said and done here in the next couple of laps. Barretto will remain on the road right here in car number 13. He has got a 3. Reggie Fogelman right beneath him. And Barretto may come down the pit lane here soon. He has got a lot of damage to the right-hand side of that Valvoline Dodge Charger. Still with the race lead, however, is John Andrews. And how long is it before Andrews will finally submit? Stucco really up on the high lane here. I think he may have wanted to come down that last time by. But he has got a lot of traffic stacked up right behind him. Everybody's starting to get their laps back. And now Esteban Lasser is going to potentially pass Igor Barretto for position here. And he did pass Barretto that last time by. And again, we got a lot of drivers that are a lap down here, and look at all the traffic going to the low side of the 7 of John Andrews, who's going to hold up Carson Miller, who's trying to get his lap back. Miller got shuffled all the way back to 11th. Now John Andrews has got a little bit of time, but he will stay on the racetrack once again. But Andrews and Barretto both absolutely need to pit here. But how long is it until the Gerben Racing entry of Esteban Lasser will track down that 7 of John Andrews? Andrews is losing about 2 seconds a lap. Reggie Fogelman down to the inside, nearly some contact there with the 92. This time by, the gap between Lasser and the 7 now down to 2.5 seconds, so Lasser is absolutely coming there in that number 64. I think Andrews is probably just going to wait until Lasser will rocket around that Barstool Sports Camry before finally submitting, but here comes Lasser. This is the battle for the race lead on the track right now. Lasser with about 10 lap fresher tires than John Andrews. Andrews stuck up on the high lane, doesn't even attempt to make the block, and Esteban Lasser will go to the race lead in car number 64. And now Andrews from the top lane comes down the pit lane, nearly got ramrodded by the 20 of Murphy. Toby Murphy nearly bringing out the caution here, and Danny Fallington taking down that safer barrier. But now Lasser coming around to 11 laps to go. He has got a 2-second lead over Ryan Durrani, make it a 2 3/4 of a second lead over Ryan Durrani, who's caught in the midst of lap traffic right now. Murphy into the outside wall. Igor Barretto, fresh coming out of the pit lane. He's going to try to make some magic happen here with some fresh Hoosiers. Barretto is 3 laps down. We'll see how much time he is able to gain here on the leaders. A lot of drivers up into the outside wall, and John Andrews will finally come back out of the pit lane here, but now this is about the point where we could potentially see some drivers lose control of their automobiles, slide up into the outside wall, and we could potentially now see our second caution of the afternoon. But for Esteban Lasser, talk about the topsy-turvy first part of the season that 64 car has had. The Gerben Racing team leading the points right now. You know, this is just a single car entry here for the Gerben Racing team. Schweppes and RCA coming on as a joint partnership for the 64 program. Lasser trying to get his first ever win as he pounds the wall off of 2 or 4. 7 laps to go here for Lasser. The gap between himself and Durrani now up to 3 1/4 of a second. Lasser hard to the outside wall once again, however, but this race is far from over. 6 laps to go. Lasser will take the low, slower line around. Where does Durrani go? And he is now down within 2 seconds here of the 64, and this race is just beginning, folks. Lasser trying to baby that 64 car around, but Ryan Durrani is absolutely flooring it right now, and that another single car entry for Durrani Racing, a brand new team for this season. 5 laps to go this time by, the gap now down to 1.5 seconds. Now Lasser on a little bit older tires, scraps the wall once again. Durrani does as well, but here comes Ryan Durrani trying to chase down that 64 car. Michael Lewis right now all the way back in third, 10 seconds away, and this is going to be a battle between Lasser and Durrani. Durrani absolutely chugging along in that Amazon Prime number 86. Some more cars up in the outside wall. 4 laps to go, coming around to 3 laps to go. Where does Durrani go? He's trying to get around Eric Monaco. Cars up in the outside wall once again. Lasser coming around here. 3 laps to go. Here comes Durrani. Durrani may have used up a little bit of his stuff this time around, but he's within 1/2 second. Trying to get around Eric Monaco. Monaco will shut the door of Durrani. Durrani has got 2 more miles to try to get something to go. Sticks high in the air. 2 laps to go for Esteban Lasser. Trying to hold on is the driver of that 64 car. Gets in the outside wall just a little bit. Durrani continuing to be held up there by Eric Monaco. Monaco with slow rubber holding up the second place car. White flag is out. One more time around Hillside International for Esteban Lasser. Durrani has gotten around Monaco. He's going to have about 1/4 mile to try to get around this 64. Monaco, rather, that's Durrani hard on the outside wall. Monaco will go down to the low side, and that will be it. Off of turn number 4, Esteban Lasser, the Yeshua Argentinite, will see his first ducked-in checkered flag. He wins at Hillside. Trying to see where he ended up here. Getting that race win by the skin of his teeth, and I thought Ryan Durrani was going to have that race win, but Esteban Lasser holds on in car number 64. He will get the job done for the first race of the Dunkin Week of Speed. And for Ryan Durrani, he was racing against Bradley Ream. Ream was knocked out of this race. He'll finish in last, so the only thing that Ream was, or rather Durrani was racing for was this race win. Held up there a little bit by Eric Monaco. And it's Esteban Lasser going to Gatorade Victory Lane. Campbell Marsh got the fastest lap, so he will be on pole for tonight's second race here at the Dunkin Week of Speed. Take a look at the top 10 starters here. 11th through 20th, 21st through 30th, 31st through 40th, and then Bradley Ream only running 8 laps. Well, started the tail end of the field where he finished here in today's contest. But for Esteban Lasser, a first-time winner here in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, becomes the 3rd rookie to go to Gatorade Victory Lane this season. Let's take a look at your full race results. Lasser will beat out Cole Sampson, who ran his race, but pit strategy favored Lasser in this one, and Sampson able to get a top 10, but he will be going home in the Dunkin Week of Speed, unfortunately. So we'll go over the Dunkin Week of Speed results here. Lasser will beat out Cole Sampson for the 1 versus 32 matchup. Michael Lewis will beat out Eric Monaco, who was a lap down, was holding up the cars. I think Monaco was pulling a Dale Earnhardt in 1992 Atlanta, where he's just salty about things and decided the leaders weren't going fast enough here, weren't going slow enough, I should say, on lap number 80 of the contest. Logan Williams versus Logan Alexander. That's going to be an interesting one. Williams finishes in 17th, and Alexander, I believe Alexander deep in the field there, and he is down in 34th, so Logan Williams will win the battle of the Logan and Logan show. Riley Sampson versus Rogel Dorn. That is another interesting one as well. As Dorn, what's going on? I'm trying to see where Dorn finished there, rather where Riley was. Riley down here. I believe those two actually finished towards the front end of the field. Or did they? I don't know. I'm trying to find where these two drivers are. We'll start from our way down. John Andrews finished second to last, 2 laps down. The strategy did not pay off, so Braden Perez will be moving on. Igor Barreto finished all the way down, so Caleb Rose will be moving on in that battle as well. Reggie Fogelman finished in 39th, so Bruno Diacomo will be moving on in car number 79. Dylan Matthews was not in the Dunkin Week of Speed, neither was Skylar Taylor. Riley Sampson finished behind Rogel Dorn, so Dorn will be advancing on to the Dunkin Week of Speed. Juan Rodriguez was not in the Dunkin Week of Speed. Alexander, we already know his result. Nathan Stapleton is not in the Dunkin Week of Speed. Alexander Rowe finishes in 32nd, so Thomas Troxel will finish ahead of him. Sam Vitale is not in the Dunkin Week of Speed. Daniel Bouchard was, and Bouchard will finish just a few spots behind Elijah Gordon. Bouchard will be going home at the Dunkin Week of Speed. Alex Lozano, despite having another good top 10 run, has a top 25 finish, and he will be falling out of the Dunkin Week of Speed as well. Keegan Thompson will move ahead of Alex Lozano in that regard. Brandon Wilmington, Wilmington did not have a good race compared to Owen Miles, who was able to stay inside the top 10. Owen Miles led the most laps here, but Brandon Wilmington will be going home. Owen Miles will win that matchup. Matt Wolf beneath of Campbell Marsh. Marsh had a fast lap, and he got a top 10 run. Matt Wolf will be going home in car number 38. Looking at the remaining matchups here, Carson Miller versus Matthew Hubert. Hubert finished in 16th, and Miller, did he fall down at all? No, Miller was in 10th, so Miller will move on over Matthew Hubert. Corey Case versus Mitchell Collins. Trying to see, I believe Collins was in 15th, and Corey Case, how about a top 10 run for Corey Case? Coming out of nowhere to knock out Mitchell Collins. And finally, Angel Gutierrez versus Roberto Crown Jr. Crown Jr. was in 19th. Gutierrez in 13th. We'll advance Angel Gutierrez into tonight's race here for the Sweet 16 of the Dunkin Week of Speed. Take a look at the drivers that advance here. Esteban Lasser, Michael Lewis, Logan Williams, Rogel Dorn, Angel Gutierrez, Owen Miles, Carson Miller, and Thomas Troxel will advancing onto tonight's race. Keegan Thompson, Igor Barreto, Keegan Thompson, Caleb Rose, Bruno Diacomo, Campbell Marsh, Elijah Gordon, Corey Case, Ryan Durrani, and Braden Perez will be advancing on the right-hand side of the bracket. But nonetheless, that is going to do it here from the Hillside International Speedway. Congratulations once again to Esteban Lasser for getting his first career win here at the Hillside International Speedway, for winning the Dunkin 400. We'll be back later on tonight for the second race of the Hillside doubleheader. The Baskin-Robbins 310 gets underway at 8 o'clock Eastern right here on the NASRN. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Here are your Dunkin Week of Speed bracket and point standings after race 17 of the 2025 NBCS season. And from Natick, Massachusetts, on behalf of the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great afternoon, folks. We'll see you later tonight.